The following video was recorded a few years back when a man noticed something on his home security footage that he couldn't shake. Footage from the same night his young son woke up terrified, crying, and refusing to go back to sleep. The recording was captured at 3:30 a.m. by a static security camera mounted high in the living room, looking down over the couch where the boy was sleeping. The father says his son told him he saw someone standing in the hallway. Watch. In the deep shadows of the hallway, a tall, thin, human-shaped silhouette stands completely motionless, and then vanishes between one frame and the next, there 1 second and simply gone the next. Moments later, the boy stirs under his blanket, sits bolt upright, and quickly leaves the room. That sequence is hard to dismiss. Many who've studied similar footage attach the shadow person label to figures like this: dark, humanoid, stationary, and gone before anything can be confirmed. Others think it's a trick of compression artifacts on night vision footage, but the child saw something first. So what was standing in that hallway at 3:30 in the morning? Now, in this next clip, a man films himself moving through his home at nearly 2 in the morning after being woken by something he can't immediately explain. He's already holding his phone when it starts. Loud, aggressive knocking at the front door, 5 rapid strikes, then 7, then 3 more in a row, each series harder than the last. Watch.
¿Qué crees que sea? Te dije que ya no subiéramos, pero no haces caso. ¿Te escuchas? ¿Quieres ir a ver? Te quedas aquí. Vamos. ¿No te da miedo? Vamos, vente. Espérate, voy a apagar la tele por si ya no subimos. Vente ya. Dame la mano. ¿Dónde crees que se escucha?
No sé, creo que allá afuera.
A ver, déjame ver si está la puerta cerrada. Espérame aquí. Son solo golpes. ¿Qué pedo? ¡Ah, no mames! ¡Vámonos! ¡Ah, no mames! ¿Qué pedo?
He opens the front door, scans the porch, pans left and right, and finds absolutely no one there. The yard is empty. Whatever was knocking, it wasn't waiting around to be seen. He moves back through the house, catches his own reflection in a mirror, and visibly recoils. Then, the piano in the living room plays a single loud, discordant chord on its own, and when he turns toward it, the brass doorknob on the closet beside it starts rattling violently, shaking like something inside is trying to force it open. He opens it, just cleaning supplies. Then, a child's ride-on toy car rolls out from a dark doorway and stops in the middle of the hallway entirely on its own. He keeps filming. He walks into the kitchen, and the doorknob on the door leading to the garage begins rattling just like the first one did. He opens it and steps inside. What builds across this footage is exactly the kind of escalating pattern that makes cases like this harder to dismiss. Multiple phenomena, different rooms, different types of disturbances, none of them repeating the same trick twice. But it's what happens in that garage that seals it, because if you listen closely, you can hear it. A clear, sharp, disembodied male whisper saying, "Vait," which translates directly to "go away" or "leave." Some think the whisper changes the nature of what's happening entirely, because poltergeists aren't typically understood to speak, and a presence that issues a verbal warning carries a very different kind of intent. Skeptics argue the variety of events across one clip stretches credibility, suggesting a staged production, but his reactions track consistently from unease to outright terror, and he never stops filming. Whatever was in that garage with him, it didn't just want to be noticed, it wanted him out. So the real question isn't whether something was there, it's why it was so eager for him to leave. The following video was captured by a man who had been noticing strange things happening inside a shed on his property. Not occasionally, not randomly, but with the kind of regularity that makes you stop dismissing it and start paying attention. He'd set up a Ring security camera inside the shed specifically to catch whatever was going on in there. And what it recorded during the day while the space sat empty is the kind of footage that's hard to shake. Watch.
Man, look at this. You guys saw up there. There's nothing up there. Okay, look, if you lived in this house, would you even walk up there for a second? I have no reason to. There's nothing up there that I need. And I know I saw this when I looked up there. It looked like a pulley system. So whoever was here must have put stuff in here and pulled it up. That's what that must have been. And that thing completely disconnected. That was tied. Look, I saw it because it was tied around this thing right here. And I saw it before. I'm not going up there and I'm not using it. So that fell. So, yeah, man.
In a matter of minutes, that shed goes from a quiet, cluttered workshop to something that looks like an active poltergeist event. A door swings open on its own, a small dark object is hurled through the open doorway, and then a large wooden plank is violently thrown across the room before being lifted straight back up by something that isn't there. Old-fashioned music starts playing from somewhere inside the space. A low moan filters through the audio, and then a scream. No one is visible in that shed at any point. He then heads up into the attic above the shed with his phone's flashlight, and what he finds up there adds a different kind of strangeness to the whole situation. Broken name signs reading Mr. and Mrs. Ronald J., with the last name snapped clean off, a shattered Rolex, shot glasses from Sweetbriar College, a women's college in Virginia. None of it belonging to him, all of it left by a previous owner whose identity is still only half legible. Some viewers think the activity is poltergeist-driven, a term used to describe paranormal disturbances characterized by physical movement of objects, often concentrated around a specific location rather than a person. Unlike a haunting, which tends to follow the individual, others think the broken name signs are the more unsettling detail because something tied to a specific person, something incomplete, something literally snapped in half, has a way of suggesting unfinished business. Then, it got worse. Days later, he's back at the property and you can see in his face that the anger has started to replace the fear.
And I came in here yesterday, and if you want to look in the video from yesterday, that was closed. I slammed that closed in the video. In the video, I slammed it closed and it's fucking open. Now, people were asking, where's your camera? You had a camera in here. Yes, I sat my outdoor camera that is right there up on the house. I set that, look, she won't even come in. I set that camera right there in the corner. I have now purchased a stationary one that is going to be up in that corner. And this is where everything has been happening. Hey, you, I'm over it. You hear that, you piece of shit? I'm over it. Get out of my house. You hear me? Oh, you're not saying nothing today, bitch, are you? Are you? Are you? Huh? You ain't saying nothing today, bitch, are you? Where you at? Where you at, you mother? Because I do not care anymore. What's up? Where you at? Where you at? Huh? Nothing? Yeah, you don't want to talk shit today? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Didn't want to say shit. Of course, man. Of course. Of course. I'm over it. I got a different energy now. that thing. I'm telling you what, this thing has been drawing me in. I have been standing at this window in my kitchen, staring out of this window right here in this shed. I have sat here. It's like it's drawing me in. I'll sit there, wake up late at night, come down the stairs, stand at that sink, or look out of that bathroom window and just stare at this shed. Watch it. Molly, you want to come in? Yeah. Well, if that doesn't tell you, I don't know what does.
Dogs reacting to unseen presences is one of the oldest pieces of anecdotal evidence in paranormal cases. They're not performing for the camera, they're not influenced by suggestion, they just refuse. Molly refused. Whatever's in that shed, it's been there through multiple visits, it's getting louder, and it appears to have opinions about who leaves and who stays. This next video was recorded by a man who woke up at almost 2 in the morning, too unsettled to go back to sleep, and decided to walk through his house with his phone to figure out what was scaring him. He speaks in Spanish throughout, narrating his fear in real time as he moves from the bathroom into the hallway, past a Christmas tree and a dimly lit dining area, the whole space cast in long shadows and that particular kind of quiet that feels wrong at that hour. As he explores, something starts before he even makes it past the kitchen. A strange, high-pitched electronic whine bleeds into the audio, and he stops to whisper, "Escuchen." Listen. Then a sharp bang hits from somewhere off camera, and then, twice, a high-pitched sigh drifts in, clearly audible, clearly not him, sounding like a woman. He checks room after room, peering into a pitch-black closet where the only thing visible is a small blue LED in the dark. Eventually, he makes his way out to a covered outdoor patio. Watch.
Ay, güey. No hace aire, Se empezó a mover solita. Ay, cabrón. Vámonos. Así ya se puso feo esto. Vámonos para arriba mejor. Vámonos, que ya se puso gacho este rollo.
When he switches on the overhead light, a large fabric hammock hanging from the ceiling beams is already swinging, smooth, rhythmic, as if it had just been pushed. He says it out loud, "No haze air. There's no wind." You can hear the fear in his voice as he confirms what he's looking at. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, the kind associated with physical disturbances, unexplained sounds, then movement. Others think something was already outside waiting, and just as the clip ends, that female sigh returns one final time. So what was in that house with him? The following videos were recorded inside a 1920s home filled with vintage decor, taxidermy, and what the man living there describes as a collection of haunted objects. Pieces he brought with him from a previous house, ones that, according to him, had never caused any trouble in this new space. That changed. In the first clip, he's home alone when he starts hearing banging from the living room, grabs his phone, and heads downstairs to investigate. Watch.
Banging in the living room. There's nobody else in the house. I've just been upstairs watching TV. Some of my old haunted objects from the old house are in here, but nothing's ever happened. Hello? Hello? Oh. Whoa. Shit. Oh my god. What? What the hell? Whoa. I'm not staying in there. Oh my god. Oh, it's even colder in here. What is that noise? Hello? Oh my god. Well, it looks like my objects are back at it again, doesn't it? What the hell? What the hell now? I am getting out of here. What the hell?
A taxidermy bird on the fireplace mantelpiece suddenly pitches forward and hits the floor, and almost immediately after, a heavy brass object is violently hurled from the hearth with a loud metallic crash. Then, minutes later, a dining chair in the next room is thrown backward with such force it lands upside down on the carpet. He's audibly shaken, breathing hard, saying his objects are back at it again, before declaring he's leaving the house. Many viewers pointed to poltergeist activity as the most likely explanation, a term that, in paranormal tradition, refers not to a haunting tied to a location, but to a disruptive energy that appears to attach itself to objects or even people, following them from place to place. That would explain a lot here, because the haunted objects theory isn't one he's dismissing himself. Skeptics have pointed to the perfectly timed camera angles and the staged feel of the vintage filter, but the force behind those crashes is hard to shrug off entirely. Then, it got worse. In the second clip, filmed at dusk in the same house, he's alone downstairs while his partner sleeps upstairs when the knocking starts on the living room door. Not once, but repeatedly, and in what sounds like direct response to his questions. Watch closely.
Okay folks, I've just got the camera out because for the third time this afternoon, there's been knocking on the living room door. Now, my partner's presently asleep upstairs. I'm just having a little relax watching TV down here. As you can see, just myself. And several times this afternoon now, the door, either the handle's rattled or no, it's can't hear. Or someone's knocked on the door. Shh, listen. Hello? Is that you? What the hell are you doing? Whoa, my... What? Are you doing that? Fucking hell. What the hell? See. Is that you, Craig? Hello? If that's you... So... Can you hear that, love? What is it, eh? What is it? Hello? Oh, see, I'm terrified now after the bloody last time. Is anybody in here? Oh. Just heard the noise upstairs as well. Sorry about my language. Oh, Jesus. I don't really know where to go. What's that? Oh shit. Oh my god. The frame's just smashed. It's just missed my legs as well. It's the frame smashed on the floor. Oh my god, what is going on? It's smashed. Jesus. That has been up there for a while. There's no reason at all Whatever is doing this, get out of this house. You're not welcome. Oh my God.
The lights begin to flicker violently as the knocking continues. Then, heavy footsteps thud down the staircase while no one appears, and moments later, a picture frame is hurled from the wall at the bottom of the stairs, shattering on the floor and nearly hitting his legs. He picks up the broken frame, a lenticular haunted house print, and shouts at whatever's in the house to get out. For viewers who follow poltergeist cases, the escalating pattern here is exactly what researchers describe as a build phase, the activity growing more aggressive, more physical, and more personal over time. Whatever is behind these events, it doesn't seem interested in stopping. Thus, the following video was captured by a group of ghost hunters who decided to explore an abandoned house after several reports suggested something dark was attached to the property. From the moment they stepped inside, they described the atmosphere as heavy, tense, and almost hostile. The kind of place where silence doesn't feel empty, but watchful. Believing the presence to be malevolent, they began praying, hoping to protect themselves and possibly force whatever was there to reveal itself. But according to many paranormal beliefs, prayer doesn't always bring peace. Some say it agitates negative entities, almost like shining a light on something that wants to stay hidden. Watch what happens next.
Bun.
Ești sigur?
Da. Hai, uite acum zic. Ia. Cred în bunul Dumnezeu, Tatăl Altotțitorul, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului.
Oprește-te, oprește! Băi, Alin, uite alea cum fac bilile toate trei.
Știu unde am rămas.
Ea nu va pleca.
Da, știu când va pleca. Tatăl Altotțitorului, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului, care pretutindeni ai și pe toate le împlinești, vistierul bunătăților și dătătorule de viață, vino și ne slăzășluiește întru noi și ne cu toată închinăciunea. Băi, nebunilor, băi!
Fai de capul meu! Nu mai zi, măi, te rog eu!
Ce s-o sparg? Nu s-o sparg nimic. Cum să spargă ceva?
Frate, nimică nu.
Doamne ferește. Dar ce să spargă?
Hai de capul meu!
Dar nu se
Bă,
vede.
mi-e frică, nu mai fă, frate, că murim!
Păi da, bine că s-o auzi spart, dar nu-i spart nimic. Deci vă asigur eu că nu-i spart nimic. Ce să fie spart?
Dau arda aici pe mâini, că nu e jali, măi.
Viewers believe this reaction suggests the presence felt threatened, not comforted by the prayers. Others argue that prayer can act as a form of confrontation, drawing attention from entities that feed on fear or resistance. Whatever the case, the timing is hard to ignore, but until we get more updates about this house, this remains unsolved. Now, in the following videos, a man and his family are convinced they're living with a ghost. In fact, they've gone as far as giving it a name, Ghost Malone, a playful nod to Post Malone, because according to them, the presence feels calm, relaxed, and non-threatening. They say things move around their house almost every night, especially toys, but insist it has never tried to hurt them. Still, many viewers can't help but ask the same question. How long does a spirit stay harmless? Take a look at what a typical night in their home looks like.
It's 3:30 in the morning. I swear on my life. For freaking toy cars. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whether to wake Elizabeth or somebody call Justin Nunley or an exorcist. I don't know. I mean, I'm not scared, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shaking. So I'm just gonna leave it there till the morning for Elizabeth to come play with it. And it's not electronical, y'all. There ain't no damn motor in that thing. I feel so weird and out of place right now. I don't know if it's still there. To be truthful, I'm thinking about just leaving Elizabeth in Revelation and going somewhere for the night. I don't know what to do. Let's check on her. You still there? Pirates of the Caribbean's getting good. I'm not scared. I'm just kind of freaked out because, like, it's friendly. Has it thrown it?
What immediately stands out is the toy car. It has no batteries, no electrical components, and yet it moves on its own. Some viewers tried to brush it off as coincidence, uneven flooring, or leftover momentum. But those explanations quickly fall apart when you realize this isn't a one-time event, and it's not just one toy. Similar things have happened repeatedly, and after seeing this clip, many people weren't convinced that whatever was in the house was truly harmless. Some believe genuinely good spirits are rare, and when they do exist, they don't usually interact directly with the living. Concerned viewers suggested the father try certain cleansing methods to see how the presence would react, a way to test whether the entity was truly peaceful or simply pretending. So the next morning, he followed some of those suggestions. Watch what happened.
I actually fell asleep, and this is what I woke up to. Elizabeth. Baby. Hey.
Goodbye.
Okay, no, for real, like, so what are we doing? Oh. Okay. Are you... Somebody said salt. Hold on.
I don't know if you're supposed to draw a circle around it.
Well, it's a half circle, but I don't think you're supposed to do anything else. I don't know. Y'all got suggestions, let me know.
Instead of focusing on the fact that the holy water, salt, and prayers didn't seem to drive anything away, viewers noticed something far more disturbing. If you look closely at the doorway, you can see what appears to be a small, childlike figure standing completely still. That single detail sent chills through the comment section, but that raised another unsettling question. Why did the cleansing attempt seem to have little to no effect? Well, things escalated beyond toys. Watch this.
Are you there? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Well, that's one of the things that I've discovered.
Whenever the house goes quiet, all he has to do is ask, "Are you there?" And something moves in response. At that point, many viewers said it could no longer be coincidence. But what troubled people even more was the interaction itself. A lot of paranormal believers warn that acknowledging a spirit gives it energy. Others say responding invites it closer, strengthens its presence, or even allows attachment. Despite all of that, the family continues living as normal, still convinced it isn't dangerous. One night, they didn't only check if it was there, they tried to communicate with it. Watch closely.
So we are all sitting here, enjoying our Taco Bell, right? And Ghost Malone was over there shaking the door a second ago. Ghost Malone, if you are still around, do something.
It was a sign.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nonchalant. Alright, so ironically, I'm watching Ghostbusters, right? Ghost Malone, Ghosty. Yo. Are you kidding? Alright, so I've been asking Ghost Malone some questions. Okay, so 1 time if you're there, 2 times, or I guess no times if you're not. Definitely there, okay. Are you friendly? Okay, okay. Do you like Ghostbusters? No? Okay, do you like movies? Okay, okay. Alright, just on Ghostbusters, I guess it's insulting. Are you here to cause harm? Okay. Okay. Man, I wish I knew Morse code. We'd try that. Are you an older spirit? Okay. but not a bad spirit. Okay. Is there more than one of you? Oh, okay.
Many believe dark entities don't reveal their true nature immediately. Instead, they appear calm, friendly, even playful, a tactic often compared to the Annabelle doll, which was first believed to be harmless before far darker activity followed. Because of this, viewers are increasingly convinced that whatever this entity is, it may be growing stronger, not kinder. People urge the family to stop interacting, cleanse the home thoroughly, and protect themselves before things escalated further. But none of the things happening bothers them. Take a look.
So a couple weird things have happened tonight, like my mom's painting over there has moved. And Ghosty, Ghost Malone, you there? Don't judge the trash. It's trash day. Ghosty. Okay. Maxie, what was that? Huh? So we're sitting here. Revelation here, is it?
Hi, Maxie.
It should also be noted that we've had several offers from paranormal people to come here and whatnot. We're down, but there's been a few of them that are private profiles, minus the big ones you guys have suggested. Nobody's reached out, but I don't know. I might take offers for people to just come stay the night so you can see whether it's real or not for yourself. I don't know. But yeah, I am gonna take a list of questions. I've been writing down in the comments all the questions you guys have for Ghost Malone. And then we're going to do the Stranger Things light or dog button things to see if that does anything.
This time, even the dog reacts. As the playpen moves, the dog retreats into its cage, a response many believe animals only show when they sense something threatening. According to viewers, a presence strong enough to move objects, frighten a dog, and respond intelligently isn't something to take lightly. Some believe this entity was never harmless, just patient. But until the family shares more updates, all anyone can do is hope the situation doesn't turn dangerous. Now, in this next video, a guy who goes by the username Mosh moved to Appalachia, and according to him, he hasn't had a single peaceful moment since. Appalachia is one of those places people constantly warn you about. Dense forests, winding back roads, long stretches with no cell service, and generations of folklore that all seem to agree on one thing. If something calls out to you out there, you don't answer. Many believe the land itself holds onto things that don't like being disturbed. Mosh has been documenting his experiences both inside his home and outside, and in several of his earlier videos, paranormal investigators and longtime viewers suggested he might be dealing with what are often called jokester spirits, entities that don't immediately harm you, but thrive on fear, confusion, and reaction. They mimic sounds, footsteps, and voices just enough to make you question your sanity. One night, while walking, Mosh suddenly got the overwhelming feeling that something was following him. Not just a sound, but a presence, staying just out of sight. Trusting his instincts, he checked the camera he installed in the house and saw this. Watch. After reviewing the footage, many viewers say this explains a lot. The unexplained footsteps, the whispers he's heard when no one is around, and that constant sense of being watched. Some believe whatever this is has been testing boundaries, slowly revealing itself once it realized Mosh was paying attention. Others think it's feeding off his fear, waiting for the moment he reacts or responds. So, what do you see in this video? And more importantly, what do you think has been following him this whole time? The following video is shared by a man who had previously documented how everything in his apartment changed the moment he brought home a set of old toys. Almost immediately, the space felt different. Knocking sounds began echoing through the walls, objects shifted on their own, and at times the presence felt so overwhelming that he would lock himself in another room out of fear. But this next video unsettles viewers for a different reason. This time, none of the dolls or toys are visible anywhere in the apartment, and yet the activity continues. Watch closely.
Son las 2 de la mañana, se están escuchando ruidos en la sala. Están moviendo la silla, raza. La madre. Escucho algo acá, raza. Tumbaron el desodorante. ¿Qué estará pasando, anda? Madre.
Whatever is disturbing this apartment hasn't left with the objects themselves. Many believe spirits don't always stay attached to the item that brought them in. Some think the toys may have acted as a doorway, something that allowed an entity to anchor itself to the space rather than the objects. Others argue this could be residual energy, replaying moments of disturbance long after the source is removed. But there's also a darker theory that removing the items only angered whatever was invited in. But what do you think? Now in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian investigates the Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater, a location widely considered one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin. The theater was commissioned in 1889 by Captain Andrew Tainter and his wife Bertha in honor of their late daughter Mabel Tainter, who tragically died at just 19 years old. In life, Mabel was deeply passionate about music and the arts, and because of that, no expense was spared in the theater's design. From its grand architecture to its detailed interior, the building was meant to preserve her spirit and legacy. While exploring the theater late at night, Ian begins taking photographs inside the theater room when he suddenly hears a loud bang echo through the building. Tracing the noise, Ian follows it to an office once used by Reverend Henry Maxson. Watch closely.
That's his old chalkboard right there. And that is his handwriting. They've kept that preserved. That must have been from his last lecture, before dying. Father, if you are indeed in here, could you tap on your chalkboard? Make a tapping sound like you're writing on it. I would be amazed if you did that. What the? That sounded like paper being moved. It was on this desk. Like, whoa, you see that? Dude, look at that. That has to be it. Look at that, it's literally hanging off of the table.
Maxson wasn't just any figure connected to this place. He was the Unitarian pastor who originally convinced Andrew and Bertha Tainter to build the memorial for Mabel. When the building officially opened in 1890, it served not only as a theater, but also as a community center and the permanent home of the Unitarian Society of Menomonee. Maxon himself gave the presentation address at the building's dedication, and for years, Sunday services were held directly on the theater's stage, with Maxon preaching to the congregation. Before leaving the office, Ian decides to set his camera down, leaving it recording as he steps away. What happens next is unsettling. Did Ian manage to capture the ghost of Reverend Henry Maxton still sitting at his desk, tied to the theater he once served? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clips were recorded by the same woman over what appears to be a string of increasingly unsettling days at her home, a place that, on the surface, looks completely ordinary, but where something seems to have made itself comfortable. It starts simply enough. She's outside in her backyard on an overcast autumn day, walking through the dry leaves, filming a dead tree that caught her eye, gnarled, full of dark holes, a little out of place among the others. She says she doesn't know what the metal bracket bolted to the trunk is for. She's curious, unbothered, almost cheerful. But as she crouches near the base of that tree, among the red leaves and the fallen branches, something catches her attention. Watch.
So I have a bunch of trees in my backyard, but there's this one that doesn't look like the other trees. So I'm gonna go check that one out because it has pretty red leaves or flowers next to it, and it's interesting. I'm wearing my work boots, so in case my dog runs off, I'm not chasing after her barefoot. So here's the tree. It's dead, but it's very pretty. And there's these weird things that are in it. I don't know what that's for. And it has crazy holes that I like. But here's the pretty red things. Flowers. No, they're leaves. Those are leaves. Oh. I like you. What is that?
She reaches down and lifts a clean white animal skull from the leaves. Empty eye sockets, prominent canines, not decomposing, just sitting there like it had been placed. A clean skull lying at the base of a dead tree isn't automatically sinister, and she doesn't treat it that way. But for viewers who've seen what comes next in her footage, many believe it fits a pattern. Some think it's nothing more than a fox or raccoon that passed nearby. Others think the placement, at the root of a dead tree, in a yard where so much else would soon go wrong, is too deliberate to dismiss entirely. That changed everything. Back inside the house, around the same period, she captures something harder to rationalize. The dog, Luna, is already alert, running down the hallway toward a set of closed double doors. Watch.
Luna, come on.
The sleigh bells hanging from the doorknobs are shaking violently and ringing loud and fast, with nothing visible touching them. No draft, no person, nothing in contact with the doors. Luna runs straight toward them, which is the detail that gets me. Dogs typically flee from things that startle them, not charge toward them, which some viewers interpret as Luna trying to confront whatever's on the other side. The bells stop almost the instant the front door opens. That abrupt silence is almost more unsettling than the ringing itself. A few days later, with a friend or family member visiting, things escalate inside the kitchen. The two women are talking casually, one of them chatting to a cat sitting on the counter, when something interrupts the whole room. Listen closely.
Did you do that?
A loud bang with no visible source, and then a bundle of what looks like dry spaghetti launches upward from behind a dining chair and arcs across the room, sending the woman in purple scrambling backward and nearly out of frame. The cat flinches. The camera operator asks, "Did you do that?" And the woman says simply, "No." Short answer, no explanation. Skeptics argue a person hidden behind the chair could have thrown it, but the trajectory, up and outward from floor level, is difficult to account for without being caught on camera. Poltergeist activity, according to those who study it, often follows this pattern: small, disruptive, physical. Objects moved or thrown, not by a ghost in the traditional sense, but by a kind of displaced energy sometimes associated with periods of high stress or emotional tension in a household. Whatever the cause, the activity isn't slowing down. Caught on her Nest security camera at 11:23 a.m., the footage shows her lying on the couch in pink pajamas when the entire room is rattled. Watch. A sharp, loud bang from somewhere off camera, silent, percussive, echoing, jolts her straight up, and she runs out of the room within seconds, disappearing through a background doorway. The camera shakes with the impact. There's no visible source, no falling object in frame, nothing displaced in the room itself. She doesn't come back on screen. What's compelling about this one is that it's a security camera. She didn't choose to film this moment. It was recorded automatically, which makes staging it considerably harder to argue. The same day or around it, Luna is standing on her hind legs at the window, visibly agitated, when the woman notices the bathroom faucet is running at full blast. She turns it off and walks back to the living room. Then, it happens again. Watch.
And water's on. She's flipping out.
Holy crap, Mom! What are you eating? Mom, really feel the purpose. I'll probably feel better.
Literally just turned back on as soon as I sat down.
I don't see the force.
Oh my god. Luna.
She's barely sat down when the water turns back on by itself, audible from a different room, and she has to go shut it off a second time. Then the doorbell rings clearly, and when she checks the window and the porch, there's nobody there. Not across the street, not on the path, not near the mailbox. Luna is already at the door before she gets there. Some viewers think this cluster of events, the faucet, the bell, the dog's fixation on unseen things, points to an intelligent presence, one that's interacting with the house rather than just haunting a specific room. Others suggest a plumbing fault for the faucet and a technical glitch for the doorbell, but the timing, back to back in the same clip, makes the mundane explanations feel strained. The last clip shifts the setting outdoors at dusk to a dirt path bordered by dark trees. Luna has already appeared in several of these clips, reacting before her owner does, and in this one that pattern reaches its most extreme point. The woman is walking Luna on the leash through what looks like an open field at the edge of the tree line when Luna stops cold, locks her gaze on something ahead in the darkness, and refuses to move. Watch.
Luna. 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 What? Go home. Luna, go home. Come on. No, 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 no. Luna, come on. Stop.
After a long, still moment of staring into the dark, Luna bolts forward with enough force to pull the leash completely out of the woman's hand and runs into the field. The woman calls her back urgently. Luna, go home. No, no. But Luna stays out in the dark, circling at a distance, occasionally stopping to look back toward the tree line as though tracking something. What dogs detect that cameras can't is the part of this footage that sits with you. Whether it's a scent, a sound outside human range, or something else entirely, Luna's behavior across all of these clips, the bells, the window, the porch, the field, follows the same shape. She knows something is there before her owner does, and whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The following video was recorded by a man who was working a delivery run late at night when his route took him past a cemetery. The kind of moment most people would shrug off, except this time it didn't let him go. He's driving an SUV, dashcam running in split screen mode showing both the road ahead and the interior of the car, and you can see him glance over at the fence line as he sits at a red light, muttering quietly about the cemetery next to him. He keeps driving, keeps his composure, tells himself it's nothing. And then something enters his car. Watch.
Doing my usual Uber eating, dropping off some food. I swear, this I've all address gotta be set by the cemetery. But I see this again, I'm just not gonna accept it. So I'll tell you that. Make sure I'm not tripping. No. Make sure I'm not tripping. So, I'm dropping off the DoorDash. The Uber eating. I can't even get my daggone company straight. And you're gonna see a vibration. Go see tapping at the window. He's definitely gonna hear it. hell no. Hell no. Tripping. No, I'm not tripping. Oh, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no. Okay. What the? Why? What the? No, no. Oh hell, what the fuck? Shit. Shit, I mean. Shit. Oh, hell, no. Hell. Nope. No. 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 No.
There are 3 separate moments in this footage, and each one is harder to dismiss than the last. The first is the subtlest, a faint translucent shape in the back seat, there for barely a second before it's gone, and his gasp is immediate and unscripted. He pulls over near the cemetery, gets out to check the car, and that's when the second moment hits. A shoe on the discarded cardboard box moved. But the third moment is arguably the most unsettling. Back inside the car, his car didn't start, and while he was trying to figure out why, one of the doors opened itself. Some who've watched this point to the escalating nature of the encounters. Subtle entry, then external manifestation, then direct interference with the car's electronics. As behavior consistent with what some paranormal traditions describe as an attachment in transit, a presence that latches onto a person rather than a location. Others think the proximity to the cemetery is the key detail. There's a long-held belief across multiple cultures that spirits tied to burial grounds are territorial, and that passing too close, especially at night, can invite something to follow. What do you think crossed into that car? The following videos were recorded by a man who had just finished construction work on a house that had been sitting completely empty for months. But one day, the slats of the blinds push apart from the inside 3 separate times, creating a V-shaped gap. And a dark shape, consistent with fingers, briefly appears in that opening before the blinds snap back into place. No one was there. The house had been vacant, and he insists no person was inside when this was filmed. Some viewers chalked it up to air pressure or a draft catching the slats at just the right angle. Others weren't buying it, pointing out the deliberate, repeated nature of the movement. 3 times, same motion, same spot, as if whatever was on the other side of those blinds kept coming back to look out. That detail is hard to dismiss. Then, it got worse. Listen closely.
Hey, Missy? Miss? Oh, it's weird. is going on here, brother?
A loud, sharp thump rocks the space at around the 11-second mark, and right after it, the night vision on the security camera flickers completely off before snapping back on. He stops, startled, calls out, "No answer." Then, as he moves deeper down the hall, a long groaning sound, low, drawn out, with no visible source anywhere in that empty building. Skeptics argue an unfinished structure naturally settles and shifts, especially at night when temperatures drop. But the sequencing here is what makes that harder to accept. The sounds don't drift or fade the way passive settling does. They escalate, one after another, almost like something in that house was making itself known on purpose. What would you do in this situation? The following video is about Nate, someone many viewers already recognize for the strange and often unsettling activity that seems to follow him wherever he goes. Over time, people began pointing something out to him, that he might be giving whatever it is too much attention, and that constantly reacting to it could actually be making things worse. So he decided to try something different. He started ignoring it. No reactions, no engagement, just going about his day like nothing was there. But that didn't last long because one morning, this happened. Watch.
Alright. So you people tell me to ignore things, so... Tell me what the fuck that is. I have... things going on in here and in the bathroom right above me, or some upstairs above me at the same time. But, you know, I'll just ignore it. And it's not as simple as people think. Unless people experience these things, then it's not as easy as just ignoring it when the shit happens to you. I'm working on it.
Once again, you can hear faint whispers in the background, unclear but definitely there. And what makes this moment even more unsettling is that just seconds before he started recording, the cabinet where the cup falls from was completely closed. Moments like this are why many believe that attention plays a role in these situations. Some say that reacting to activity can strengthen whatever is causing it, almost like feeding it energy, but others argue the opposite, that ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes it find other, more aggressive ways to be noticed. And for Nate, it doesn't stop at home, because as much as he deals with this inside his house, his workplace isn't any different. Watch this.
All right. Good morning, ghosts. Happy Friday to you guys, too. Well, I don't really see anything out of place or kind. Everything looks... Oh. I could feel that. I could feel that. Did I offend you by saying good morning? That's different. All right, I take back the good morning then. Oh, okay, we're gonna do this now. All right, I take back good morning then. Jesus Christ. Well, now the knocking on the walls has started once again. Just figure out, turn the camera on and see if I can catch it, because I mean it was every wall. Like, and it's inside because when it did it on this wall, this and the chains were slightly swaying. So that tells me I wish I can understand what whatever this is wanted.
At the cemetery where he works, something can be heard bang against the walls of the garage over and over again. Not random noises, but heavy, deliberate impacts, like something trying to get his attention from the other side. Some believe this could be tied to the environment itself. Cemeteries are often associated with residual energy, places where emotions, grief, and history linger. Others think it could be something more direct, something that may have attached itself to Nate, following him between locations. And then there's one of the strangest things he's come across at work. Watch.
We have this morning. Just one. No other ones. Just one single claw print or weird handprint. Fingers are super long. They look a little sharp on the edge, like small scratches underneath. And there is it's almost like it was jumping up there, but I don't see anything.
On the floor, there's a deep claw-like marks, just one, as if something appeared, dragged across the surface once, and vanished. Some viewers even claimed to hear whispers toward the end of the clip, though no one could clearly make out what was being said. So what could leave a mark like that? This one remains unsolved. In this next video, a father shares an experience that completely changed the way he sees his own home. For some time, there had been small things he couldn't fully explain, moments where he thought he heard movement late at night, or faint sounds coming from parts of the house that should have been empty. Nothing too obvious, just enough to make him uneasy, but not enough to convince himself something was wrong, until one night, He suddenly woke up to the sound of his son crying, not a soft whimper, but the kind of crying that makes you get up immediately. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his room to check on him, but something didn't feel right, so he decided to check the camera. Watch closely.
Good. No.
You can hear it clearly, a child crying, but then something else happens. A figure moves past, and for a brief moment, it looks like the shape of a child. Yet, something about it feels off. The movement isn't natural, the timing doesn't match the crying, and the presence itself feels separate from the sound. And this is where things start to get really disturbing, because when he finally checked on his son was fine. Not crying, not awake, just sleeping, which raises a terrifying possibility. Some viewers believe this could be a case of something imitating familiar sounds to draw attention, possibly to lure someone out of their room. It's a theory often mentioned in cases where voices or cries are heard, but don't match any real person in the house. Others think it could be a shadow figure manifesting briefly, using sound and movement together to make its presence known. But whatever it was, it knew exactly what would get his attention. So if that wasn't his son crying, then what was it? I'll let you be the judge. Now, in this next clip, Isaac, the man living in that old property with 2 haunted sheds, a place already known for strange activity that seems to grow worse over time, shares an update on his current situation. On this particular day, Isaac was doing a live stream, going about things normally, when a strange sound suddenly caught his attention. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to make him stop mid-sentence and go check it out. Watch this.
Y'all heard it too. Y'all heard it too? Because I know I heard something. I know I'm not going crazy. I'm standing right here with y'all. I'm standing right here with y'all. My hands. My hands. I'm standing right here with y'all. Just burn the whole house at this point. I can't, they ain't got nowhere to live. Ooh. Ow. Oh. Hit my leg. I hit my knee so bad. Oh my God, that hurt. Oh.
Isaac had previously explained that this room used to belong to the grandfather who owned the land, and according to family members, he always preferred warm temperatures. It was something very specific about him, something only people close to him would know. And just to rule out any easy explanations, Isaac made it clear during the live stream that the other remote was in the living room, and the remotes don't control each other, something he had tested before when he once misplaced one of them. So if no one was in the room, and no remote was being used, then what turned it on? Some viewers believe this could be the grandfather's presence, something familiar, almost routine, repeating what he used to do when he was alive. But others aren't so convinced, because what happens next changes the tone completely. Tired of everything happening around him, Isaac eventually decided to bless the house, and for a few days, things were quiet. Almost too quiet, until this happened. Watch.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Like I said, I've left the living room and I've officially moved into the bedroom now, and it's... What the hell? Well, well, I was gonna say, that it's been pretty calm all day. Somebody did ask me if they blessed the sheds, and the answer is no. They actually didn't. For some reason, my landlord was pretty adamant about leaving the sheds alone. We did the furthest one where the memorial is, but the one near the house and the one with the car in it, she was absolutely adamant that that would not be blessed, that would not be touched, and so we didn't touch it. I didn't ask any questions. Her reaction wasn't like mean or anything. She was just like, yeah, I don't like that's not a good idea. Almost kind of like, nah, just leave it alone type of thing. So, I mean, other than that, it's been a really good day. It's been a really damn good day, to be perfectly honest with you. Why are my windows so foggy? Look at this. Look how foggy my windows are. Look, these two. Can you even see it? I don't even know if you can see it. It's like mad condensation. Why is there so much condensation on my flipping window? I didn't run. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, to be perfectly honest with you, but guess we'll go ahead and finish getting ready for work. Watching Wicked while I get dressed. Alright, talk to you later.
A door suddenly closes on its own, the light shuts off, and for those listening closely with headphones, some claim they can hear a faint voice saying, "Go away," and that's what really unsettled people, because if that voice is real, then whatever is there doesn't just exist, it has intent. Some viewers believe this might be a reaction to the blessing itself. There's a theory that if a space is only partially cleansed, whatever is there can simply move to the uncleansed areas, And in Isaac's case, that would be the sheds. And there's another layer to this. Isaac mentioned he wasn't allowed to cleanse the sheds, which raises a disturbing possibility. If something is tied to those sheds, and you cleanse only the house, then you're not removing it, you're cornering it. And according to many who study these cases, that can make whatever's there more aggressive. So now the question is, was that the grandfather making his presence known? Or was it something else entirely? Something that doesn't want Isaac on that property anymore? You decide. In the following video, a man named Moses and his family were on their way home one evening when his daughter insisted they stop by a small playground near their house. It was a simple request, just a few minutes to play before heading in. Reluctantly, he agreed. The kid played, laughed, and enjoyed the quiet moment. But as time passed, something about the place began to feel off. The kind of uneasiness you can't explain, like being watched without seeing anyone. Then, just as they were about to leave, Moses saw it clearly. Someone was there, hiding. He turned his camera toward a nearby tree and started calling out, asking whoever was there to show themselves. And then, it did. Watch.
No te vas a golpear la resbaladilla cuando te bajes.
¿Me bajo?
Sí.
Ah. ¡Ey,
Nana! Mira, mira. Nana, ven. Mira, cheque, a ver, miren el árbol aquel. No, yo, la neta, te lo juro que yo miraba algo, como que se asomaba. A ver, venga. No, es que yo miré algo, neta. No pasa nada. No, mi amor, no pasa nada, ven. No era nada, ven. ¿Qué?
¿Qué es?
No sé, no. Mira, sí se miró. ¡Hey! ¿Quién está ahí? Yo sí miré, alcancé a ver algo. Mira, ¿te checaste? ¿Viste? A ver. Oh, mira.
¿Qué es eso? Ay, no.
¡Hey! ¡Lujo! ¡Asómate!
Something peeks from behind the tree, not once, but twice, just enough to confirm that they weren't alone. At that moment, the family didn't wait to find out more. They quickly left, trying to brush it off with nervous laughter as they walked away. But after posting the video, the comments made things worse. People began sharing their own experiences about that same playground, especially after sunset. Some claimed they had seen figures standing near the trees, watching silently until noticed. Others described hearing footsteps behind them with no one there, or catching glimpses of something ducking out of sight the moment they turned to look. A few even said the place feels completely normal during the day, but changes the moment it starts getting dark, as if something else uses that space when no one is supposed to be there. So what was hiding behind that tree? For now, this one remains a mystery. In this next video, Chris and his wife are trying to finally settle an argument that's been going on for a long time. Both of them have been experiencing strange things in their home, but they don't agree on what's causing it. Chris leans toward logical explanations. Faulty wiring, loose fixtures, anything that can be explained. His wife, on the other hand, believes there's something else in the house, something they can't see but can definitely feel. So to settle it once and for all, they installed cameras everywhere. One night, while they were asleep, the cameras caught this. Watch. The stove turns on by itself, as if someone physically turned it on. Up until this point, many viewers believe the activity in their home might be tied to something harmless, possibly even a child's spirit, especially based on earlier clips where objects were lightly moved or knocked over. But after seeing this, people started to think differently, because this isn't just movement, this is dangerous, something that could have easily caused a fire. And that's why some believe this might not be something playful or harmless anymore, but something more aggressive, something with intent. And for a while, all the activity seemed to center around one place, the kitchen. Take a look at this. This doesn't look like it slipped, looks like something deliberately pushed it. According to Chris, this has become part of their daily routine. They go to bed with everything in place and wake up to the kitchen in complete disarray, cabinets disturbed, items out of place, forcing them to clean up every single morning. At this point, it's no longer about whether something is happening, it's about what is doing it and why the kitchen. What do you think? The following clip was captured by Amanda, who's had some of the strangest encounters inside her home. About 2 weeks after she moved in, she woke up one morning to shocking news. A body had been found in her backyard. And according to Amanda, ever since that day, the house hasn't felt the same. Have a look.
I am freaked the f out. I just got home and tell me why my chairs are like this. Like, what the f? I literally still have my coat on. I come walking through the fucking... Oh my god. I'm like shaking right now. I just went and dropped my daughter off to her dad's house. And all the chairs were around the table. What the f? Oh my god. I need to call my mom.
Chairs don't end up like this by accident, and this is not something caused by drafts, pets, or structural shifts. In paranormal discussions, this kind of activity is often linked to an intelligence trying to be noticed, especially when the setup is visually striking rather than destructive. Since then, Amanda says doors open on their own, lights flicker and malfunction, and the house feels different, heavier, quieter, like something is always just out of view. Some believe the discovery of the body may have triggered residual energy tied to trauma, while others think the attention and disturbance surrounding the property may have awakened something that was already there. Skeptics argue stress and fear can heighten awareness, making ordinary issues feel sinister, but others point out that recurring physical changes, especially ones involving multiple objects, are harder to dismiss. Now, Amanda just wants to know one thing. Is there a chance this all has a normal explanation? Or is this a situation that requires real intervention before it escalates? What do you think? This next video was captured by a family's security camera, installed after everyone in the house woke up to a loud bang in the middle of the night, followed by several other unsettling incidents they couldn't explain. Hoping to catch whatever was happening, they set up cameras. Take a look. Aside from the obvious breathing sound, viewers immediately notice something else. On the right side of the screen, along the staircase, something moved. When the family reviewed this footage, it made other moments fall into place. Just weeks earlier, the sister of one of the couples living here called her and asked what she was doing standing on her front porch. Now here's the problem. She wasn't home. She was at work, nowhere near the house. But the anxiety in the house escalated when the family noticed their dogs reacting. Watch this.
What is wrong, Cole? Not barking. Connor! Knock it off! Hey! Barking at the door again. No one's there. Honey. No one's there, honey. Nobody's here. It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
The dog repeatedly barks at the door, staring at it with focus. Not playful, not distracted, but locked in, as if responding to something it can sense but humans can't. Animals are often said to react to subtle changes in energy, sound frequencies, or presence long before people do. And when pets fixate on empty spaces, doors, or corners, many believe it's because something unseen has crossed into our world. And if you look at the activities they've experienced, the breathing caught on camera, the movement on the stairs, the mimic sighting on the porch, and the dogs reacting, this no longer feels like a single incident. It feels like a pattern. So could this be heightened anxiety and coincidence? Or is something inside the house slowly making itself known, watching, copying, and waiting? You decide. Now, in this next video, Nate, who's been trying to get to the bottom of whatever is happening inside his house, captures something new on camera. By now, his experiences follow a disturbing pattern. He wakes up to objects scattered across his kitchen floor, his dog refuses to enter certain corners of the house, and the sound of footsteps moving along the stairs when no one else is home. One night, while waiting for a UFC fight to start, he begins hearing something unusual. Listen closely.
Guys, I want you guys to check this out. So, I'm just chilling here, waiting for the UFC fights to start. Dog's there. And I'm just sitting here. I was re-racking my weights. And I was hearing the scratching. And it sounded like it was coming from like right in front of me. But I don't see anything. Like, I heard it. But I was like looking. And it sounded like it was coming from like... You hear that? What the f is that? It sounded like it was coming from like right in front here, but I don't see anything else. What the f? Like, I have no clue.
Hearing scratching or dragging sounds can mean something is trying to mark territory or test physical boundaries, especially when it happens repeatedly in the same areas of a home. Another detail viewers couldn't ignore is Nate's environment. His house is almost always dark. Many believe prolonged darkness, cluttered spaces, and low lighting can make activity feel stronger, either by heightening fear or, according to paranormal belief, by creating conditions where negative entities feel more comfortable. Another night, a different sound woke him. This time, it wasn't scratching, it was stomping, and when Nate got up to check the house, this happened.
Hey guys. So I was upstairs and was woken up with the sound of stomping down here. I mean, loud stomping. It is currently 2:52 a.m. So it's a little before 3 a.m. And the weird thing about it is when I woke up to the sound of the stomping, the dog was sleeping, not even alerted. It's almost like she couldn't hear it. So, as soon as I came down, I walked into like a cold spot. It felt like a certain area was cold. But it was loud. It was such a loud stomp. Like I said, it's 2:53 a.m.
Scratching, stomping, footsteps, all familiar at this point. But what truly unsettled him was something else entirely. His dog didn't react. Normally, animals respond instantly to loud physical sounds, yet during the stomping, his dog remained unusually calm, as if it either couldn't hear it or didn't perceive it the same way Nate did. Some believe the dog may have already learned to avoid reacting, but this concern quickly became secondary. Because the next morning, Nate woke up to something far more disturbing: scratches on his body. If this had happened once, it's easy to say he accidentally scratched himself while he was asleep, a reaction to fabric, even stress-related skin irritation. But it didn't stop. It kept happening. And on the morning after the stomping incident, he recorded this. Watch.
So the people that were asking for a better view of the scratch that I woke up with on my leg, here it is. Like I said, it's not super deep, but it goes down pretty far. And I also noticed on the opposite side, I have 2 here on the same leg, but on the opposite side, that I woke up this morning with. Now, these ones didn't burn as bad as this one. This one was 2 mornings ago when I woke up. This burned, and I looked down and saw that. And then this morning when I got up at like 2:30 a.m., I woke up to stomping downstairs. And it wasn't until after I worked out and everything that I noticed these. So, yeah, that's the update.
As Nate shows the marks on his body, many viewers begin connecting everything. The scratching sounds at night, the dragging noises, the stomping footsteps, and now, physical marks appearing while he sleeps. This points to something more than a simple house haunting. Physical interaction, especially repeated scratching, is often cited in cases involving attachments rather than locations. Some believe this points towards something escalating, moving from environmental disturbances to personal interaction. Others think whatever is in the house may be trying to assert control, feeding on fear, isolation, or even exhaustion. And the most disturbing part, the activity isn't random anymore. It's consistent, and it's getting closer. So whether it's an attachment, an oppressive presence, or something feeding off the darkness and silence, one thing is clear. Whatever this is, it's no longer staying in the shadows. And until Nate gets answers, this case remains deeply unsettling and completely unsolved. In the following video, a woman's first son is home alone, quietly watching TV when he suddenly hears someone call his name. At first, he doesn't think much of it, until he responds and hears the voice again. This time, it sounds exactly like his little brother. Watch.
Hola. ¿Quién es?
Soy yo. ¿Tú? ¿Quieres jugar a la pelota?
Pero la Chu no se había ido al médico con mi madre. ¡Hijo de p***!
Hola, Michael. No, si la Chu está acá en el médico. Estamos en el médico acá. Vamos a demorar un poco para llegar. No estamos en casa.
The confusion sets in immediately. His brother isn't home. He's at the hospital with their mother, waiting to see a doctor. So there's no possible reason for his voice to be inside the house. But many viewers believe he didn't handle the situation well when he responded. In paranormal folklore, responding to a voice you can't verify is often considered a mistake, especially when the voice belongs to someone who physically isn't there. Many believe mimics rely on acknowledgement, and once you answer, you're confirming awareness, opening the door for further interaction. That's why one of the most repeated rules in cases like this is simple: don't respond, don't investigate, and don't follow the voice. As for what this could be, most people landed on 2 possibilities: a mimic or a doppelganger. And while the terms are often used interchangeably online, there's an important difference. A mimic imitates voices to provoke a response. It doesn't need to be seen. It feeds on confusion and fear, using familiar voices to draw someone in, often calling names or repeating phrases. Also, it's usually heard before it's ever seen, if it's seen at all. A doppelganger, on the other hand, is typically visual. It's believed to appear as a full physical copy of a person, seen walking, standing, or watching, sometimes even interacting briefly before disappearing. Doppelgangers are less about sound and more about presence. In this case, there's no figure, no visual confirmation, just a voice, perfectly copied, calling out from inside the house. That leans heavily toward a mimic, and once a voice knows you'll answer, it rarely stops calling. So, which was it? You decide. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. At this point, he's still inside the room with the haunted painting, the same room where the power mysteriously died the moment the artwork was brought in. Earlier, Ian heard a heavy dragging sound echo through the room. Most people would have left immediately, but Ian didn't. Instead of backing out, he stayed put and began slowly scanning the room, hoping to capture something. Watch closely.
See if anyone's out in the hallway here.
Oh my god.
Calm down. Calm down. That sounded like a growl. And worst of all, it came from that closet that I was just in. Okay. Oh gosh. Gosh. Oh, whoa, what the hell is that? Dude, what the oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I'm ready to get the hell out of here. There's something in there. There's something in there.
Aside from the low, unsettling growl that can be heard, something far more disturbing appears on his thermal camera. When you look closer, the shape resembles a distorted human face, and this room has a long history of activity. Ever since that painting arrived, the disturbances seem to center there. No electricity, sudden noises, and now, a possible manifestation. Many believe cursed objects can act as anchors, giving something a place to attach itself, feed from, and eventually show itself. If that's true, then this raises an unsettling question. Was this the first time the entity tied to the painting allowed itself to be seen? Or has it always been there, just waiting for someone to stay long enough to notice it? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video is a chilling reminder of why kids shouldn't be left alone outside at night. A young girl who had always dreamed of becoming a content creator decided to film herself at a park not far from her house. It was quiet, familiar, and felt safe, so she set up her camera, excited to record her video. But while she was focused on creating, something else was already there, watching, and waiting in silence. Watch.
Acompáñenme a grabar en una plaza enorme. Bueno, no le dimos importancia. Miren, toda la plaza. Ahora voy a poner el trípode aquí para que, bueno. Hay alguien. Estaba, miren. Eso. O sea.
Shortly after she starts filming, she notices a figure standing far off in the distance. At first, she tries to ignore it, convincing herself it's probably just someone passing by. But then, the figure moves, suddenly appearing in a different position. This time, it has her full attention. And then, it waves at her. The distance, the silence, the way it moves, none of it feels right, so she quickly decides to hide.
Uy, hay una persona y tengo... Ahí viene, chicos. Bueno, chicos, estoy aquí adentro, pero... Chicos... Voy a limpiarle un poquito la cámara.
What makes this even more disturbing is that she didn't hear footsteps, no sound of movement, yet somehow, whoever, or whatever that figure is, continues getting closer, moving unnaturally fast between positions. And then, it appears right in front of her.
Chicos, tengo mucho miedo. Chicos. Literalmente había una persona persiguiéndome. Chicos, entré abajo de la estructura en donde estaba el muñeco ese. Ay no, chicos, tengo mucho miedo. Se agacha. Chicos, desapareció. Se escuchan pasos arriba. Aquí abajo tengo mucho miedo.
Viewers were left deeply unsettled. Some believe it could be a shadow entity, something known to observe from a distance before approaching. Others say entities like this often appear in isolated places, especially at night, drawn to people who are alone and vulnerable. What troubles people most is how quickly it moved, and how silently it closed the distance, but to some, it was staged, or a prank. But I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In this next clip, a man who works at a warehouse had been dealing with things he couldn't explain for weeks. It started small, hearing footsteps in empty aisles long after his coworkers had gone home. Sometimes he'd hear the sound of boxes shifting, like someone was moving inventory in the distance, but every time he checked, nothing was out of place. There were nights when he felt watched, especially near the back storage area where the lights didn't reach as well, and more than once, he heard what sounded like breathing behind him. Slow, quiet, only for the space behind him to be completely empty. One night during his shift, he decided to start recording, and that's when he caught this. Watch.
Quiero que chequen algo en esa tarima de ahí. Eso. Y chequen, estoy yo solo.
A figure passes by in the distance, but the moment he looks directly at where it should be, there's no one there. Some believe this could be what's known as a residual presence, something tied to the location itself, replaying movements over and over like a recording trapped in time. Others believe it could be something more aware, something that moves when it knows it isn't being watched directly. What makes this especially unsettling is how often warehouses become the center of stories like this. Large, quiet places where people have worked alone for years, sometimes leaving behind more than memories. But until he shares more footage or finds answers, whatever passed through that warehouse that night remains a mystery. Now, in this next video, a family's youngest daughter had been saying something that deeply unsettled them. On several nights, she would complain that someone was tickling her neck while she lay in bed. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Each time, she would quickly turn around expecting to see someone standing behind her. And every single time, there was no one there. At first, her parents assumed it was imagination, the kind children sometimes have when they're half asleep. But the consistency of it and the fear in her voice when she described it made them take it seriously. So they installed cameras in the living room and in the upstairs hallway, positioned directly toward her bedroom door, hoping to finally understand what she was experiencing, and then one day they caught this. Watch. In the footage, the girl suddenly reacts like something was touching her. But what makes this moment even harder to explain is that no one else is there. No sibling, no parent, and nothing visible that could have caused that reaction. Some viewers who slowed the footage down claim they could see something sitting very close to her, a faint shape moving beside her before she reacts. Paranormal researchers often warn that physical interaction, especially repeated touch, is one of the most personal and invasive forms of activity. It suggests intent, awareness, something that isn't just present, but actively engaging. And when it targets a child, it raises even more concern, because children are believed to be more sensitive and more open to things adults may not notice. What makes this situation more difficult is that the family doesn't believe moving would solve it. Many people who've gone through similar experiences say activity like this can follow the person, not the place, which means leaving the house might not mean leaving it behind. Right now, the family is searching for answers, ways to protect their daughter and understand why whatever this is seems focused on her. Until then, this remains unsolved. In this next clip, a woman had been living alone with her dog when she began noticing things she couldn't explain. Doors she clearly remembered closing would be slightly open later. Her dog would stand in the hallway, staring into empty space, sometimes whining, sometimes wagging its tail like it saw someone familiar. At night, she would hear light footsteps moving past her bedroom. Not heavy, not aggressive, but soft, like someone small walking barefoot through the house. More than once, she woke up convinced she heard movement just outside her door. Eventually, the feeling became too constant to ignore. She installed cameras around the house, hoping to prove to herself that nothing was really there. But instead, she captured this. Watch. First, the door slowly opens by itself, then something far more disturbing happens. Something peeks out, and this time, she sees something. The shape is small, and for a brief moment, it appears to resemble the apparition of a child standing there. This is where things become deeply unsettling. Child apparitions are often described as appearing harmless at first, small, quiet, non-threatening. But many paranormal researchers warn that not everything that appears as a child truly is one. Some entities are believed to take on innocent forms to lower fear, to gain comfort, and to remain unnoticed longer. What makes this even more disturbing is the behavior itself, peeking from behind doors, observing instead of immediately interacting. After seeing this footage, she didn't hesitate. She packed her things, took her dog, and left the house. She later said she wouldn't return until she found someone who could help her understand what she captured, and more importantly, how to make it stop. So what do you think she was dealing with? Now in this next clip, another family is going through something that has slowly turned their home into a place of constant fear. Their young son has been reacting in ways they can't explain. Some nights he runs out of his room saying someone poked him. Other times he wakes up with small marks on his body and points at empty walls, quietly saying, "He did it." At first they thought it was nightmares, imagination, or something he would grow out of. But as the weeks passed, the incidents became more frequent and more physical. It got bad to the extent that sleep became difficult, not just for him, but for the entire family. One night, while they were all asleep, another episode began. Watch. You can see how the boy shifts under the blanket as his feet bend unnaturally, then, suddenly, the blanket lifts like something grabbed it. The little boy immediately wakes up crying and shouting that someone pulled his foot, so to calm him down, his mother tells him she was the one who did it, hoping it would ease his fear. But deep down, she knew she hadn't even left her side of the bed. Later, when they reviewed the CCTV footage, the truth became impossible to ignore. There was no one else in the room, and yet something clearly interacted with him. Encounters like this are often described as direct physical interaction, one of the most disturbing forms of reported paranormal activity, especially when it involves children. Some believe entities target younger individuals because they're more sensitive, more open, and less resistant to their presence. The fact that the boy had already been feeling touches, being poked, and pointing to empty spaces makes this moment feel less like a single incident, and more like something that had been building over time. For the family, the fear isn't just what happened that night, it's the possibility that it could happen again. In this next video, Nate documents yet another disturbing escalation inside his home. and by this point, whatever he's dealing with has gone far beyond subtle or easy to dismiss activity. For those unfamiliar with his story, Nate has spent months trying to understand what's happening in his house. Footsteps moving through rooms when he was alone, objects not staying where he left them, his dog, once comfortable in every part of the house, suddenly refusing to go near certain corners and staring into empty space, growling at nothing. But then things got worse. He began waking up with scratches on his body he couldn't explain, and there was this constant, heavy feeling, like something was moving through the house. Then, one day, he heard knocking coming from the basement, so he did what most people wouldn't have the courage to do. He went to check. And that's when this happened. Watch.
I made my way down to the basement. So I was hearing knocking coming from down here. I don't see anything. The knocking sounded like it was coming from right around here somewhere, because I was in the kitchen and I felt it in my feet.
That voice didn't sound welcoming, and this isn't the first time whispers have appeared in his videos. Many people who followed Nate's story believe this could be something establishing presence, moving from passive signs like footsteps and object movement into direct communication. Now, this raises a much more serious question. If it's already speaking, what does it want from him? The following video was captured by a woman who believes something in her home has taken a disturbing interest in her two children. For months, she had been noticing things she couldn't explain. Her daughter would suddenly wake up in the middle of the night, crying and pointing toward corners of their room. Sometimes she refused to sleep altogether, insisting someone was standing near their bed watching them, and more than once, toys would occasionally end up in places no one remembered moving them to. She tried to convince herself it was nothing, but one night, her camera captured something she couldn't ignore. Watch this. She doesn't own any pets, and yet you can clearly see what looks like a tiny hand yank the cord. Some believe this could be the spirit of a child, entities that are often described as curious, drawn to other children, and capable of interacting with physical objects. But others warn that appearances can be misleading. There are countless cases where something presents itself as small or harmless, only to gain comfort and access to a family's space. But what makes this especially unsettling is the focus on the children. The activity isn't random, it's centered on their room, their belongings, and their beds. The mother says she wants to believe she's only being paranoid, but after watching this footage, it's hard not to ask, is this just fear playing tricks on her mind? Or is something actually reaching out to her kids? I'll let you decide. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of the most feared locations in Indiana, the Blackford County Jail. Built in 1879, this place wasn't just a prison, it was also the sheriff's living quarters, meaning law, punishment, and everyday life all existed under the same roof. For over a century, criminals were locked behind its heavy steel doors, until it finally closed in 1995. But according to locals, whatever was left behind never left. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied voices echoing through empty cells. Some claim they've felt sudden sharp pains, only to later discover scratch marks on their skin. And one of the most frequently seen figures is believed to be Sheriff Townsend himself, a former lawman who many say still walks the jail, watching over it long after his death. When Ian stepped inside, he immediately tried to communicate with whatever spirit was present. Watch.
If there's anybody in this jail, and you can hear my voice, could you come talk to me? Could you sit at one of these chairs? How about this one, right across from me? Could you pull it out? I hear that there's a man by the name of Ed Townsend. I heard that you were the sheriff here. You passed away from a heart attack. But they say that somehow you're still here. Holy shit, dude. Dude, those were footsteps. Holy shit. They were walking in that room over there. Dude, that literally came from back there. Damn. Did you just walk? Was that you just walking? I freaking heard you. Holy moly.
At first, nothing happens, but after nearly 40 minutes, heavy footsteps echo through the building, like a large man walking somewhere inside the jail.
I could have been walking across this floor. Holy crap. My heart is racing already, and I just started.
Still at the sheriff's office, Ian hears a sound like a chair creaking, and the unsettling part is, Ian was completely alone. Some believe this could be Sheriff Townsend himself, still occupying his office, still carrying out his duty, refusing to abandon the place he once controlled. Others believe the jail has absorbed decades of fear, anger, and suffering, and that energy never truly fades. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured by a Ring camera inside a home. At the time, the homeowners were simply feeding their cat, and didn't notice anything strange while it was happening. It wasn't until later, when they reviewed the footage, that they realized something else had been there with them the entire time. Watch closely.
Buddy.
At first glance, many people were quick to say it was just a reflection. But before you settle on that explanation, here's what the garage looks like during the day. There's no window there, and no reflective surface that would explain it. The empty space you see is exactly where the car was parked in the original video, and the red circle marks the exact spot where the unidentified figure appeared. Some viewers believe it might be a residual presence, briefly replaying an energy tied to the house rather than actively interacting with the environment. A few people pointed out the cat's behavior as well, and of course, skeptics argue it could still be a lighting anomaly or camera glitch, even without a visible source. The homeowners say they've never experienced anything like this before, but now that they've seen it, they can't stop wondering, was this a one-time glitch caught at the perfect moment? Or something that's been there all along, only now revealing itself? What do you think? Now, in this next video, a woman named Jennifer owns a beautiful, historic home that dates all the way back to 1907, filled with antique pieces that go as far back as 1903. But not long after moving in, Jennifer began experiencing things she couldn't explain, and things that steadily became harder to ignore. Soft footsteps when no one else was home, faint whispering that seemed to come from empty rooms, objects shifting ever so slightly when she wasn't looking, and shadows, not quick tricks of the light, but lingering shapes that felt intentional. Concerned, she eventually reached out to several mediums, all of whom told her the same thing. They sensed children in the house. One evening, when the noises became louder and more persistent, Jennifer decided to pull out her phone and start recording, hoping to finally figure out what was causing it. Take a look.
Okay, I'm upstairs and the cracking was just me standing here. However, did you hear the sound after that? Because I'm a little freaked out. Because of course I'm home alone. And I'm scared. I'm gonna sit here and listen. See what I get. I just saw an orb. I saw an orb in the dining room across where the mediums have seen the children. And per usual, here's my sidekick making sure I'm okay. The innkeeper. Magnolia. I feel like I'm hearing like a faint music being played. And do you see that? Maybe it's just the shining from the lights. Just seems like something's in there right now. Walk down and see. Oh my God, what was that? Okay, I'm going over here. That was a big noise. That could not have been from the cat. She's still sitting there. Look at the mist around her right now, and she's looking. Oh boy.
What makes this even more unsettling is what Jennifer later discovered. After speaking with a local historian, she learned that when the house was built, there were no nearby hospitals, and it's believed that at least 4 people died inside the home. Deaths that likely occurred under stressful, emotional circumstances, the kind many believe can leave a lasting imprint on a place. Whether this footage captured lingering memories, restless spirits, or something far more aware, one thing is clear. Jennifer's home isn't just holding antiques from the past. It may be holding on to the past itself. The following video comes from another haunted home, this one owned by a woman named Lauren, who says the activity inside her house has been escalating for quite some time. Before this night, Lauren had already shared multiple unsettling incidents. She's discovered footprints appearing in the house that don't match the size or shape of anyone who lives there. She's seen figures moving at the edge of her vision, heard voices when she was completely alone, and watched objects shift or move without being touched. Each event on its own might be easy to brush off, but together they paint a much darker picture. One night, just as Lauren was about to go to bed, she began hearing whispering, so she reached for her phone and started recording. Listen closely.
What's that? What's that? Yeah, what was that, Teddy? Yeah, let's go down. Okay. Oh, no way.
Lauren was making a video to record the voice she heard. Instead, her camera caught a figure. Some viewers believe this could be intelligent haunting, where whatever is present is aware of Lauren and actively trying to make itself known. Others suggest the entity may be tied to the house itself, revealing itself more clearly as Lauren becomes more aware of its presence. But until Lauren shares more updates or captures clearer evidence, this case remains unresolved. Now, in this next video, a man captures something that's far from ordinary, and what happens afterward is even more unsettling. Watch closely.
Leave. Stop. You gotta go. Shh, 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 shh. Calm down. What are you? Stop. Charlie, come on. I don't even know how to explain what I'm seeing. Holy hell. No, this is crazy. Did you hear this last night? Oh, yeah. It was going last night. Now, did you... Charlie, come here. I guarantee it's going to keep on. It'll do it again. So, I don't know if you're going to see what I'm seeing. But... this is on repeat. This happens over and over. And then the knocking happens. The knocking. There it is. And it just goes and goes until you tell it to stop. Can you stop, please? I mean, it's just right there. That's new. Okay. Whatever you are, you gotta go. And that's... yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Goodbye. Yes? Hello? What is that? Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you. Leave my lights alone.
In the footage, you can clearly see hands pressed flat against the glass, and then they simply vanish. But what made this situation truly disturbing wasn't just the clip itself, it was what the man shared afterward. He says he began experiencing that overwhelming sensation many people describe, the feeling that someone is standing just behind you, close enough to feel, but never close enough to see. He'd wake up in the morning to find his closet door wide open, even though he knew it had been shut before going to bed. And worse, the same set of handprints he saw on the glass outside now appeared on his mirror, pressed deep, as if someone had been standing inside the room, watching him while he slept. He keeps seeing a figure dressed in black, always briefly, always just out of reach, never long enough to fully make out its face. So what do you think he's dealing with? And if those hands weren't human, whose were they? This one remains deeply unsettling.